Do this.
What you're about to hear is unscripted, unedited, and live. It's literally off the cuff. True confessions of an ENP. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Buckle up.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
240 million times each year, citizens reach out to 911 for help. Most likely, behind that network is an ENP. Let's have a talk with one, live and off the cuff. Hi, I'm Mark Fletcher, Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Welcome once again to another episode of Off the Cuff True Confessions of an ENP live. And today we are with Aimee Sandifer, who's an ENP down in Montgomery County, Tennessee, right in the town of Clarksville, Tennessee. So welcome to the podcast. And you know, Clarksville is a very special town to me.
Why?
Because my daughter lives in Clarksville.
Not because I'm here.
So if you ever get a phone call that says, my daddy does the 911 podcasts, you can just hang up on her.
I'll know exactly who she is.
Yeah. Well, she met Steve Martini, so now she runs around. I know Steve Martini. He runs Metro Nashville 911. I'm like, doesn't mean anything to anybody, sweetheart. So, but congratulations on your ENP.
Thank you. That was stressful.
How long did you study?
A little over a year total. I had started to study and take the test, and then I got promoted, and it was just a lot going on in my life at the time. So I had to put the ENP on the back burner.
Wow.
But I'd pick up my book every once in a while and study it. But hardcore studying, probably about 4 months. Did
you do any of the work groups?
I did Tracy Eldridge on Scene First.
Everybody does Tracy's.
Yes, she was amazing.
I love Tracy. She's like a sister to me. I'm a super technical kind of guy. She figures out how to explain things to people that have never seen technology before in their lives.
Yes.
And, you know, because they opened ENPs up to dispatchers, we brought in a whole new group of people that weren't ever exposed to the technology side. And she filled the gap to where the TCs coming in, you know, the dispatchers coming in weren't doing well on the technology. They were really struggling. So she came up with all of these ways and all these little tricks of how she teaches. And it drives me nuts. And I'm like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. But
it works. It works
and
yes.
People remember it.
Yes. I remember when I was taking my test, I would hit some questions and I could literally hear her voice like in my head telling me what that was. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that is.
So I hear her voice in my head, but it gives me seizures.
I don't have that problem.
No, she's wonderful. She, like I said, she the way she deals with that and the examples, and she'll call me. She goes, "Oh, I got a really good one." I'm like, "That's just insane, Tracy. It has nothing to do with anything." I know, but it works. I'm like, "Yeah, I know it works."
And you know, for someone like me, I'm not very good with the technical side. So for her to be able to break it down and help me understand it, that's what I think ultimately helped me pass that test.
The one I hear all the time is interlata, intralata, and the
yes.
rah-rah.
Yes, the rah-rah. Yeah, absolutely. When that question came up on my test, I was like, rah-rah.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't really matter how you remember. It's just that you do remember and you understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So that's one thing that even though her examples are absolutely idiotic from a technical perspective, they let you understand and they let you rationalize why they're that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, I had some issues with some of the radio stuff and the microwave, and she really, her study group really helped me.
Yeah. And you know what? The price is right. You know, you can't beat free.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing thing that she does, and to do it for free, like, and I know there are hundreds of people that take her study groups.
Oh yeah. Now there's been probably a 30% uptick probably in ENPs with her starting, because it was kind of like the perfect storm, Amy. We had this whole new group of people that were applicable to an ENP. We had somebody that taught the technical side, which is a skill set they were lacking the most out of all of it, and really didn't have any mechanism of learning that. So she taught it in a way they could understand and retain that knowledge.
Yes.
And, so it was like the perfect storm. Open up to new people, mechanism to get them in and train them and get them, doesn't matter what you do, you still have to get a 105 to pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Were you how did you feel? How did you take the test? Virtual or in person?
I went to a testing center and did it in person. I felt like I would focus more if I went to somewhere to do it versus like at my house or at my work. I would
both have pros and cons. I took way back when COVID wasn't around, so I took mine in person. That's kind of a weird experience when you go in there.
Yes, it is.
Live, right?
I had to empty my pockets, like turn them inside out. They had to make sure I didn't sneak nothing in. I was like, oh, this is serious.
Yeah. And even when they do the virtual, they make you get on the floor with your video camera and look under the desk. And, it's kind of like a medical exam almost. People are like shocked. They're like, wait a minute, you're making me do all this? Got to put blankets over windows. I've had people go, well, I took this at work and I'm in a fishbowl. And I'm like, I don't think we have enough blankets to cover all the windows.
Right. Well, we don't have any windows, so I would have been good.
Yeah. But again, we utilize that agency to administer that test, so it's done fairly. And
yes.
When you earn that certification, you are guaranteed that person knows the content.
Yeah, there's
no improprietary in there. So were you shocked when you got in the parking lot and finally got your score?
So funny thing is the testing center is probably about a mile away from work, and I got the email with my preliminary score, and I couldn't bring myself to open it. So I drove to work and had a coworker open it for me because I was petrified that it was going to be a fail.
So you thought you didn't do well?
I honestly did. I walked out of there like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to retake this again. And I don't know why I felt like that, but I feel that way about pretty much any test I take.
So if it makes you feel any better, the first time I took it, I had the same feeling and I passed. And on my first recertification 4 years later, I took the test in person again. I had the points, but next gen was coming about and I wanted to make sure I knew the next gen content.
Yeah.
And I took it again and again. I went up there, and we used to get it right there when you hand in your test. They used to score it right on the spot, and you got it on the screen right there. And the green pass came up again. But both times, I didn't know if I passed or failed.
That's honestly how I felt. Like I walked out of there like, and I remember I told the ladies that worked there, I'll see you again because I'm gonna have to come retake that because I just for sure thought that I failed it.
So, were you happy with your score though?
Yeah, I was.
Good. A lot of people, they say, well, like I just got a 107 or a 108. I just barely got through it. I'm like, no. It's not like 104 is an F. 105 is the minimum acceptable score.
Yeah.
As long as you scored that or above, you are good. Yeah, don't think of those as a failure.
That's what my husband told me when I got my score. He's like, but you passed. At the end of the day, you passed.
Doesn't matter. Same thing with a doctor. Somewhere out there is the doctor that passed by 1 point.
Absolutely.
But it's not like he's the worst doctor to go to.
Maybe he's just not a good test taker.
Maybe he's just not a good test taker. Exactly. So, people, we had a couple of tests ago, we had a person that got a 104, and they sat there for 3 weeks with a failure.
Yeah.
And then one of the questions that we went through, we take all the 105s and 104s and we actually go through the tests and we make sure that all the questions that were wrong are 100% wrong and that there was nothing misconstrued. And we looked for, did we make a mistake? Was there a question out there that we hadn't caught before that was kind of marginal?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, we found a question where a lot of people got wrong, and they all got it wrong with the same answer.
Oh, wow.
So, the correct answer was, D, and everybody that got it wrong chose B. And we looked at it and we're like, oh, that's why they chose that. That was not fair. It wasn't really super clear about how we asked it. It could be taken two different ways.
Yeah.
So we flagged the question to be fixed, and on that question, we counted B or D correct. Went back and rescored the tests with 104s.
Uh-huh.
Sure enough, we found one or two people that brought them to a 105.
Oh, wow. So they passed. They passed.
And those are the happiest phone calls. Hi, remember that failure you got a month ago?
JK.
Guess what? Yeah, JK, you're an ENP. Think about how that made them feel.
Right? Because, yeah, for like you said, for 3 weeks, they're like, oh, man.
Some of them were in Tracy's class again. So, it doesn't happen often. I mean, we make a lot of effort going through those tests when they pick the two forms for each year to go through. We go through every question and we check every question and every answer. But sometimes we miss a good bad answer.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you're human. Everybody
we focus on the good answer being good.
Yeah.
And the distractors are distractors. But, sometimes one sneaks through that's just a maybe.
Yeah.
And if the questions, sometimes it's just a word in the question. Oh, you say it this way, and we want one answer to be definitively correct, and the rest just good distractors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you read it, you should be able to get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and we shoot for 80% when we look at the questions. We take the past history and we shoot to make them 80% successful over the past. If we get one that's only 30% successful, that's a bad question. Something's wrong.
Like the wording's off or something. Yeah.
And that was, like I said, the one question that made it a 104 to a 105 because we rescored it was one of those that we just didn't catch as it came up.
I think that's awesome that you guys go back and look through them like that.
Oh, we spend 2 days or 3 days. Usually at the Standards Best Practices Conference, the NIB goes in 3 days or 2 or 3 days early, and we sit in a room and we go through both tests. We all take both tests.
Oh, wow.
So y'all have to take it once every 4 years or get points. If you're on the NIB, you take it twice each year.
Oh, wow. You really got to know your stuff.
Well, the only benefit is if we do fail, nobody ever knows. So, and we get all the right answers right there.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not allowed to teach, though, because we know the answers.
Yeah, you know the questions and the answers. Yeah.
But this year I'm coming off the NIB, and because I successfully got the Northeast Regional Director position at NENA.
I heard about that. I read that.
Yeah, so
congratulations.
I'm pretty excited about that. But what I'm going to be able to do, since I'm not on the NIB, I'm actually going to be able to teach. So I'm going to probably do some of the MLTS stuff on Tracy's session or something for her. I'm going to look forward to that.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be great.
And I'll probably do some of the workshops at conference where they teach you how to take the test. So, because I don't have a problem telling someone how we do the tests, right?
Yeah.
Teaches you how to study, and it's just, it's a success plan to effectively study and how to learn and what to learn and what to focus on.
Well, it's a lot. You get that book and you start looking through it, and it's kind of daunting when you start looking. You're like,
most people get the book of knowledge and they're like, "What the hell is this shit?"
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I started looking through it and I was like, I'm never gonna learn this.
Yeah, no. But you could do really badly on one section almost. You can almost miss one section and still pass the test if you do really well on the others.
Yeah.
So, what was your worst section?
Probably the technology.
Everybody says that.
Yes, yeah. I actually did pretty good on Next Gen, which was surprising. But I spent a lot of time. I rewatched a lot of Tracy's stuff right there at the end. I was literally driving to the test, watching one of her videos about Next Gen stuff.
You know, it's funny. I did the same thing too. I actually, back when I took it, you couldn't get videos and audios. So I actually read the test exam and recorded it. And I was listening to that while I was driving to the testing center. And I was nervous as hell when I went in for mine. And I had no idea if I had passed when I walked out. And I'm like, damn, that is a good test. And I actually did quite well. I really was shocked that I did as good as I did both times around. But, it's a good test when you walk out of there not knowing how you did.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I walked out and was like, an answer would come to me and I'm like, oh man, I hope I picked that one. I hope I picked the right answer for that question.
What was your strategy for answering questions? Because you got 150 questions to go through. Did you go through and answer each one, or did you just blow through it and check off the ones that you knew, or what was your strategy?
So I went through and tried to answer as many as I could in the first go round, because I knew I had 3 hours to take it. So I answered the ones that I knew for sure. And then if I was like questionable about one of them, I would still answer it, but flag it so that I could go back to it. So then after I was finished with the 150 questions, I went back and started going through my flags.
Okay. So that's a little twist on what I do. I go through and answer what I know. And if I don't know it, if it's not like right in front of me, I just blow it off, flag it. But that's a different twist. I like that. Actually go, well, I think it's this, but I'm going to flag it because I know I got to check it. I don't know if that's good or bad, because you're kind of predisposing your mind.
Yes, but sometimes you come across a question later on that means you for sure know that answer way back when was either right or wrong.
You know what? I tell people that and they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, once you take it that way. And they're like, you're right. And I'm like, tell me, trust me.
Yeah.
This works, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. And so that's how I did it. And it must have worked because I passed.
How many did you answer right off the bat out of 150? Half, or?
I would probably say about 70-ish.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And I tell people, look, if you do that, you just cut the test in half.
Yes, and then you can spend the rest of the time really kind of honing in on the rest of them.
Yep. And you're not going to be left with 10 minutes to go going, oh, shit, I got 20 questions left. I only have 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, because then you're just rushing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't want to rush.
Yeah.
Not something that serious.
If you have, what's interesting, Tracy brought this up because she does a lot of mental health stuff. She brought up the fact that you can get accommodations if you have a documented learning disability.
Yes, in a couple of her sessions, she talked about that, like learning disabilities and stuff like that. If you had something you could submit to get extra time or whatever.
Yeah.
For the test. I think that's amazing.
I've sat for that test twice, and I know it's there, and I know how long it takes to go through. You have plenty of time to go through that thing twice, if not 3 times.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you need more help, if you have a disability, if you're entitled to it, get the time. Why not?
Absolutely, yeah. Because, my son, he has Asperger's, and he had an IEP in school, so he always had extra time for tests. So, it's great that even if taking the ENP, if he was to ever do it, which he wouldn't, but he could have that option, or people like him can have that option to have that extra time.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And it's what I found interesting, and the thing I did the worst on were the HR questions.
Oh, see, that's where I got it good.
the technical stuff, I was like, sure, blow right through that. That's what I knew. But the HR and the other part was the law.
Yeah.
The dates on the laws. I'm like, I don't know this crap.
Yeah. That was eeny, meeny, miny, mo for me.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, how could you do bad on the legislation? You wrote Kerry's law. I'm like, well, writing a law and then knowing other laws are two entirely different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Writing a law was easy. This is wrong. It needs to be right. You know, here's Hank Hunt. You know?
Yeah.
So you going to Nina?
I
Or
am
do you wanna
not.
stay home? Oh,
I'm
okay.
not. Yeah, not this year. Hopefully next year.
Next year, where is it next year?
Orlando, I believe.
Where is
Down
it?
around, I think it's down around Orlando, maybe. I could be wrong.
Oh, you might be right.
Yeah, because I told my assistant director and director I wanted to go next year.
Yeah. Last year, when it was in Louisville, my daughter came up. She drove up for the day.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, she was walking around, and she played an important role in my life 11, 12 years ago when I had a brain aneurysm. She had to call 911 and basically saved my life. And so I used to tell that story a lot because it has to do with IP phones at home and work away and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, she got Texas. I live in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And, fortunately that dispatcher had the wherewithal to tell her to look for another phone. She did, got the right person. They had already did pre-arrival. They said when they answered, tell them you have an ALS response. You need, medics right away. And of course the dispatcher was like, what? From a 9-year-old? Whatever, I'm pushing the button because this ain't right. And nor is it normal. But so a lot of people had heard that story, like, oh, you're Haley, you're in. So good to meet you. So she had her little hero moment for 911.
Yeah, she deserves it.
That was, oh yeah, she did. Hey, I'm here because of, her
Absolutely.
calmness. It's funny because she's a normal 23, 24-year-old, the slightest thing can happen. She's freaking out and screaming. But when something critical happens,
She remained calm.
calm as could be. And she was only 9
That's awesome.
when she was 11 when that happened. So
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit. So otherwise we wouldn't be talking today.
No, we would not.
So you're the training coordinator
I
for
am.
Clarksville.
Yes.
What do you guys answer around Clarksville? What's your area of responsibility?
We answer all incoming 911 calls for the whole county and admin calls. We handle all the phone calls for the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
So police, fire, medical for the entire county.
Yes. Yeah. We are co-located with Clarksville Police Department dispatchers.
Okay.
They don't take incoming calls. They dispatch Clarksville Fire and Clarksville Police Department.
Now, do other towns in the county have dispatch?
No, so we dispatch on the county side, sheriff's office, EMS, and county fire.
Do they have local police departments, or is it just county?
Local police departments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do they get dispatched on stuff?
They do. They're pretty much not really there. They're out roaming, but they do have their buildings. And then we take the calls, and then the city dispatchers put it out to their officers to respond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
No, that's a little bit different down there. Now, how do you break your center up? Do you do call taking and dispatch, or is
Yes.
it all together?
So we have 7 on staff at a time. We have 4 call takers, 6 on staff, sometimes 7, but we have 4 call takers and then 2 dispatchers, which are EMS and Sheriff's Department. And then if the phones are ringing over, they'll back the phones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. It's funny. Everybody does things a little bit different. I guess it's just what works for your area and what your SOPs are.
Yeah, no, my very first conference was Denise Amber Lee, and it was interesting to hear how other agencies do things because I haven't had that experience to really go see other agencies. And it's so interesting to hear how they do it. And I'm like, hey, that might work for us. Or, no, I don't think so.
Well, again, it's all built around their staffing or their procedures, their SOPs, right?
Yeah.
It's the guys on the road, guys and gals on the road, you're there to support them. So they've got the way they do their job and you're there to facilitate them doing that better. So you got to kind of have to be open-minded, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yes. Things are ever evolving.
What's the situation with ride-alongs and sit-alongs with you guys? Are you able to bring them in off the street to witness the center and what happens? And do you get the opportunity to get out on the street?
So we have, like a lot of other agencies, we've been really short-staffed. Ride-alongs.
Go figure.
Ride-alongs haven't really been a thing for a while now. But they can do it on their time off with the sheriff's office.
Okay.
When it comes to EMS, their ride-along procedures changed a couple of years ago, so we can't really do that. But what I do have our trainees do is they go and spend about 4 or 5 hours with EMS, one of their field training officers, and they get a tour of the county and all the EMS stations.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes, that helps. That helps a lot.
Oh, so they get to go hang out with the supervisor in the truck all day.
Yes. Yeah. So they don't get to go see any calls or anything, but they get to see the inside of the ambulance.
Yeah. They're kind of overseeing the procedures, and that's what you're looking for. I don't need to see a guy. Oh yeah, he's bleeding out.
Exactly.
I don't need to know that.
We don't need to see that.
TMI.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so I have coordinated that with our last couple of hiring groups, and so far it's been really going really well.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So that's a good mid-sized center you guys run there, and how many towns are in your county?
I don't really know off the top of my head. 20,
30?
No, not even. We don't have that many.
Okay, so it's a smaller county.
We are, yeah. I mean, I've seen statistics. We're up to 176,000.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's still a pretty decent number, though.
Yeah, so, we're fifth largest in the state right now. We're closing in on Chattanooga.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was Steve Martini's original center.
Steve Martini.
Yeah, I know Steve Martini. He's a director at Metro Nashville. He didn't even have his ENP. I was down there. I was working for Avaya, and we were having a meeting on either an upgrade to their call center or something. And after I was done for the day, he came in. He goes, "Mr. Fletcher." "Yes, sir." "I'm Steve Martini. I'm studying to be an ENP, and I just want to let you know I watch all your videos. I think you're great." Okay. Well, after you pass, let me know, and congratulations.
Right.
So, and a couple weeks later, he took his EMP and he passed. And he called me up. "I'm an EMP now. Good for you, man." And then, then he went to. I think he'd either come from Brentwood before there, or I think he went to Brentwood. He went to someplace else, went to Brentwood, and then he went from Brentwood to Nashville, I think. But I've always stayed in touch with him. Across his career, and I always saw that he was going somewhere. He had the drive and the passion and the outgoing personality. I was interviewing one of his TERT dispatchers who had just gotten her ENP, and we were talking about TERT response and that Steve wanted to get his own TERT vehicle, and I'm like, yeah. What's Steve going to get? The Beverly Hillbillies Clamp-a-mobile? I can just see that coming down the road right now, So I love teasing Steve. He's a good guy. Do you guys have TERT in your center?
Do what now?
Do you have TERT in your center?
We do not.
Okay. What do you think? Where do you think your center is going to improve with next gen? Do you see that being a big thing? Because you're not rural, but you're getting more towards the urban area or the suburban area and rural area, kind of where you are. Do you see next gen happening? Is it going to be a big deal? Because I know Tennessee's pretty proactive on delivering the networks.
Yeah, no, they are. I think it'll really help. We have quite a bit of waterways around us.
Okay.
And we get quite a few, especially in the nicer weather, water-related calls. And a lot of times they don't know where they are. So I think NextGen will really be helpful with that.
Okay. Do you have Rapid SOS in your center?
We do have Rapid SOS.
Oh, that must help a lot.
Yes.
With location. Absolutely. Where are you? I don't know, Tennessee.
Yes, absolutely. And, they're like, I don't know, I've been floating. And I'm like, oh, man, here we go.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you get the overflow of vacation folks out that way?
Not a whole lot, no. Typically, some of them, if they're traveling through to Nashville or back home, we'll get that, because the interstate comes right through Clarksville.
Yep.
We will get that, but it's not as much as people would think.
You have a lot of campgrounds in that area?
I think we have two. We have two.
Because that's where you get
people
who are there and stay for a while, and they have no idea where they are. And when something happens, they can't even explain where they are.
No, well, and being a military town, we get a lot of transplants, and they don't know where they are. They'll be like, "I just moved here. I don't know where I am."
Or the other thing is, the base is so big. Where are you? I'm near the base. Okay, that just puts you in a 10-mile radius.
Yes, absolutely.
That could be anywhere. So,
well, luckily, only part of it's in Tennessee. The rest of it's all in Kentucky. So, if they tell us they're near the base in Tennessee, we can kind of figure that out.
Oh yeah, that's true. It isn't most of. I never thought about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Do you get
most of it's on Kentucky?
And you guys are right on the border too, right?
Yes, we're right on the border. Once you cross out of our county, you go straight into Tennessee or Kentucky.
And it's not that far, because I know my daughter says, just a little bit up the road from where she lives, and she's in Kentucky.
Yeah, I would say from our center, probably 20 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on traffic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Clarksville, right there.
Clarksville's a cool town, though. I kind of like that. She was over in some nice condos when I was down there. They were brand new and, typical Tennessee condo, beautiful place. And the town was very built up and very modern. And, it was rural, but it was still built up with things.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. No, and that's one thing that's going on a lot around here. It's building up, but it still is kind of rural, depending on where you are.
It's not becoming city-like.
No, not quite, but I think we're headed that direction.
Yeah, well, it's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
As more people come in, they demand more stuff. But right now, it's in kind of like a sweet spot. It's not going to last for long, but it's kind of cool down there.
And you figure we're 45 minutes outside of Nashville, so people will live here because it's a little bit cheaper to live up this way and then drive into Nashville for work and stuff.
Yep. Now, she was working in Nashville for quite some time. She was living over in Hendersonville for a little while. And then, she finally settled. They found a nice house in Clarksville.
Yeah.
And,
It's
good guy, good job, owns property.
There you go.
Go get yourself some handcuffs, sweetie.
Lock him up.
Lock him up big time.
Look, it's 2023. She can put a ring on his finger.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, she'll listen to this because she goes, will you stop mentioning me during your podcast?
There, I told her she can put a ring on his finger.
I told her the other day, I said, I'm going to be talking to a woman from Clarksville, Tennessee. I'm like, yes, sweetheart. So now she's going to know, I know Aimee Sandifer at Clarksville.
Right? She can come see me.
Yeah. Which is better than Steve Martini. So, well, that's interesting. Well, that's great. So what are you going to do for training in your center? Are you going to start promoting the ENP stuff to your folks or getting them involved?
I would like to, yes. I didn't even know about ENP until I went to CMCP 2 years ago. Because I didn't know about it. And then once I learned about it.
Who did your CMCP, Ty?
Paul?
Paul? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, he was great. Loved it. I got so much out of that class.
It's such an incredible class. If you look at the amount of time that you're in there, and I mean, it's a fire hose, no doubt, right?
Yes.
But my God, the stuff that you walk out of there with is incredible.
And the networking that occurred, because they had it over in Dixon County, and we had people from Memphis, we had people from Chattanooga, Bradley County, like we had people from everywhere in that class. So the networking was great too, because I still have people I can reach out to.
Yep. And like you said, you find out, oh, this is how we do it here. This is how we deal with this here. Oh my God, why didn't I think of that? How stupid. I'm going to change that tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's all about that networking and having an open mind. I don't like the whole, well, that's how it's always been done.
Oh God. Yeah. It's been that way because it's always been that way. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, things can change.
That's why we've been trying to get Next Gen 911 available for 25 years almost.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite the process.
Oh, let me tell you, when I first got involved with Next Gen in the early 2000s, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This will be here by 2005.
Here we are, 2023.
Yeah. No kidding. I'm like, and what's crazy is public safety doesn't realize that everybody else on the planet is using this technology for their call centers.
Yeah.
When I call United Airlines, hi, Mr. Fletcher, are you calling about your flight on Sunday to Nashville? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, imagine that. How'd they know that? Caller ID. Same thing you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well. You know, it was just, public safety was just so rigid in its ways because they were afraid of it breaking. Right? It's got to be right every time. Okay, but it can be righter sometimes.
Absolutely. Yes, it can. Yes. I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future holds when it comes to 911.
So you mentioned location being the big thing for you because of your waterways. Do you see a place for all the other stuff, the multimedia, the video, and other stuff? Or does video scare you?
I'll be honest, it does kind of scare me. I don't want to see the things. There's a reason I am in here and not out there. I think it will have its place. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good.
I'm excited for all of it. I really am.
So let me rephrase, because I think you have the right thought pattern there. You say it scares you, but it doesn't really scare you. You just don't want to see it every time because you don't need to see it every time.
Absolutely.
But if you want it, you want to be able to get it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So then say, I, Aimee Sandifer, will not be scared of video on 911 anymore.
I won't be scared no more.
There you go. I'll use it when I need it. And
it's just the unknown of it. You know, it can be intimidating.
Just like TV and radio, sweetheart, there's the off switch.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But
Right.
I'm excited for it. I really am. I can't wait.
Yeah. But that's the thing. A lot of people get, well, I'm afraid of it because I don't know. Okay, you think you're afraid, but there are things you could and should be afraid of, right? You know, it's like, trust me, when video happens, all kinds of bad stuff is going to be happening. 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I took this little blue pill. Look what happened 4 hours ago. No, I don't need to see that, dude.
Right?
Yeah.
No,
You know that's going to happen. You know it's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but again, you don't need to look at that stuff. And I think as AI becomes more progressive, we're doing facial recognition and object recognition now on video. I think you'll get to the point where AI can examine the video and flag potentially inappropriate video.
Yes.
And at least go, hey, this video potentially is inappropriate. Now, if you do think you need to see it, you got a heads up before you gets it thrown in your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're aware that what you might see, you may not want to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Aimee, come look at this for me. Oh, yes, that's what it is.
See this.
My retinas are burned.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But again, that's policy, procedure, technology. I think we can fix a lot of those fears.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that'll be good. That'll be kind of cool. And again, hey, this is on fire. How bad? Well, not too bad. Oh, sweetheart, flames are coming through the roof. Now that's what we call a working structure fire.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you know how the callers are. They either it's not bad and it really is, or it's bad and they downplay it. So.
Yeah, exactly. If it's something they did, oh, it's not too bad.
Yeah. I cut my finger off, but it's not bad.
It's not bad. Sweetheart, that's your elbow that you cut off. Yeah. The whole forearm. It's not a finger. It's the forearm that the finger was attached to.
Yeah, that one's real bad. Yeah.
That one is real bad. Well, you know what? That's where there's a lot of room for a lot of development, and that's where technology will fix these problems. But we need people that understand the industry to, help the developers develop the technology.
Absolutely.
I remember, I'll tell you a quick story. When I was at Avaya, we were working on some 911 features, and we just couldn't get them built the way we wanted them to work. So I said to the development team, I said, you got to get me somebody that understands the 911 industry, or we can talk to about it, that will take this into consideration, because we're just not getting this right. So we get this guy on the phone, and he was not in the States. He was outside of the U.S. So again, broken English, great programmer, but just didn't speak the English very well. You know 911. Oh yeah, very familiar with it. Talking to him, he's not getting the basic stuff. You know 911? Oh yeah. What's your experience with 911? Oh, I lived in the U.S. for a year, and I called 911 several times. Okay. You called 911.
Not quite the experience you were looking for.
You really don't know 911. Okay. So
Definitely not.
This is the problem that technology people have. So we need people that will have lived it and experienced it and worked it to go, this is my use case. This is what I need. This is what's important to me. Because programmers have no idea.
No.
They believe all the other stupid rumors that everybody else thinks.
Yes.
Don't you know where I am?
Yes, my number's on the screen.
Yeah. So what words of advice do you have for future ENPs? What's the Aimee Sandifer surefire way of becoming an ENP successfully?
I read that book, read the body of knowledge, and join as many study groups as you can. I mean, I only joined one, but I could see the benefit of several. Yes.
And you know what? That's a good point, because you have some, like Tracy's, that are geared towards dispatchers who need a big technology refresh, right? Because that's who she caters to in that group. Because those are her friends. That's who comes to her, Tracy. They know her, they trust her. Mission critical, a little more technical side. Colorado Institute, that has the big resource library, just great documentation resource for additional reading.
Yeah.
The Florida stuff, another good in the middle program. You know what? The price is right. I don't know any one of them that charges a nickel.
No. And I checked out different videos from different things at different times. If I wasn't quite sure on something, I'd research it, and it'd bring me to a video, and I'd watch it. So that's what I join any of the study groups, any and all of them. And I'd say don't rush it. Don't rush, trying to study within 3 months to take the test, because I feel like you need a little bit more time.
If coming to it from your perspective, who's worked the desk in a center that hasn't had the technology background, there's a lot of understanding that you have to wrap up into your head.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And to learn that and all the other stuff at the same time can be a challenge.
Yeah.
So the learning curve is probably a little bit longer than someone who came from the tech side who goes, well, I know that. I just need to brush up on that, and I need to learn the procedure side.
Yeah.
Right?
The procedure side, that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
It was all that technical stuff that, I really
But if
had
you
to.
know the technology side, the procedure side makes logical sense. Oh, we do this. Oh, because that's how the tech works.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can justify that without having to overthink it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But if you need to learn the tech, and it's like, why is it that way? You know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I remember I had to watch several of Tracy's videos numerous times because I was just like, I'm not understanding. And then it would just light bulb moment, it clicked.
So, it's interesting. I'm going to, if I do start providing some content, I'm going to reach out to all these recent call taker dispatchers, TCs that had to really dive deep on the technical side and find out what worked and what didn't, and try to improve on shortening that learning cycle for the tech.
Yeah, because that for me was, like I said, that was the most time consuming part of it. Definitely.
Cool.
Learning all that tech stuff.
Well, put it down on your calendar, because I'm going to do a new series starting probably in a few months, but it's going to be off the cuff 1 year later. And I'm going to go back to a lot of my people that we've interviewed before and redo the interview.
Okay.
With what they've learned a year after they've been an ENP.
All right. I'll be on the lookout for it.
And what they thought of themselves then and what they thought of themselves now.
That'll be a good series.
So, it's going to be, okay, Amy, well, this is what you thought. I'm afraid of Next Gen 911. To, this is nothing. This is great. I love this.
I hope that's right.
Yeah. So, we'll play clips back of the timid, brand new ENP. Who's still learning.
Yes, every day.
But it has the letters. I still learn stuff all the time.
Every day you can learn something.
I learn stuff all the time. So, but you never stop learning.
Absolutely not.
Well, listen, thanks very much. So if a Haley Fletcher ever knocks on your door, lock it, pull the blinds down.
No.
And run and hide.
I'm going to invite her in. Yep, I'll invite her in.
You know what? She really enjoyed. I might have her give you a call just to come tour the center one day.
Yeah, absolutely. Have her reach out to me.
Because I was talking to her. Matter of fact, I was talking to her last night, and I told her. I said, "Look," she was telling me about a new procedure she learned, and where people were getting into respiratory distress because of a drug combination that happens quite often, and she took an in-service to deal with that. When they can deal with it in the office, when they've got to escalate to 911 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sweetheart, you are a first responder.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You run into stuff that you're medically doing. You're a first responder.
Yep.
And she really likes this industry. So she really enjoyed the Nina show last year, and she loved seeing Steve Center. So maybe I'll have her come down one day and she can tour a real center without the crazy dude.
Yeah, without the crazy dude. Tell her to come on down. Haley, come on down and see me.
All right, thanks very much for talking to us today. Thanks for what you do. Really appreciate you sitting down. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.